What's up, YouTube? Joe of All Trades here, and today I'm talking about Westworld, Episode 6, The Adversary. Now, I'm not speaking to you from my original spot because I've been out of town traveling a little bit this week. I was actually in Chicago on Friday with all them Cubs fans, and those guys are crazy. But regardless of that, I'm still checking out Westworld and letting you know my thoughts. So here we go on Episode 6. There will be spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. I'm getting into it. Okay, so right off the bat, this episode's title was The Adversary, and we definitely got some hints as to who the adversary is and possibly even maybe what he wants, but we did not ascertain the identity of who exactly the adversary is in Westworld. Starting off with the man in black, I think it was an interesting twist that turns out that Teddy has some sort of relation to Wyatt back in the day when the massacre happened, and it seems like this is something that came up kind of suddenly. And so I don't know if this was something that was originally part of this new storyline or if it's like a memory that was all of a sudden implanted by, Arnold or the voice or whatever's going on with the rest of the hosts. Also, unrelated to that, it was really interesting to me when Ford was walking through that village where Lawrence's family was from, and he sees some guys playing dominoes and they wipe them away, and the maze symbol is carved into the table. So it seems like whatever was going on with the woodcutter host that caused him to carve the images of the stars they saw, there's another host doing the same type of thing with the maze, and there's someone that has that in their mind, and possibly a human, but probably not. It seems like a host is already pursuing the maze before anyone else, including the man in black. Okay, now getting to some of the other storylines in the show, we learned that Dr. Ford has some unmonitored hosts inside of Westworld, and this is a way that he's able to go back and enjoy some of the nostalgia that he had as a child, because we see that he created himself, his brother, his mother and father, and his dog, and it's a way that he goes back and enjoys the good old times. But the most disturbing thing I saw from this is it lets us know that Ford has the capacity to create hosts that are not monitored. So if he has at least these 4 hosts, and then we count the woodcutter that smashed himself as things that are just going off track, there's a strong probability that there's one or more other hosts that we don't know about, that the cast doesn't know about, that are out there doing their own thing. I've always liked Bernard's character, and I'm enjoying that he's emerging as the protagonist in this series. It's very concerning to me that I've expressed in past reviews that Bernard really has no ties with reality, and perhaps the only one that was holding him down was his relationship with Teresa. And now that that's severed, and then on top of that there's possibly like a layer of betrayal going on, I think this is very detrimental to Bernard at the core as a person. And that's coupled with the fact that he came across Dr. Ford's little village, and he understands that Dr. Ford is breaking the rules, and he doesn't even know if he can trust Dr. Ford now. And of course, I say everyone's my favorite, but Maeve was rock star in this episode. She's in the lab, and she's pulling strings, and she's doing what she does best. Like she said herself, she's programmed to read people and understand what they want, and she's using their own desires against them and coming up with creative ways that she can make herself better. It seems that Maeve has a pretty good understanding what the hosts do, what the guests do, what the park supervisors do, and she's using this to expand her own role in the park, not just in the sense of her being a character in Westworld, but as her being like an actor in real life and in the world and in things that matter outside of the park. And I guess that depending on perspective, maybe Maeve is going to be the adversary, because she's going to be creating a lot of trouble for the people who run Westworld. So the biggest questions I have going forward are, what is Maeve going to be doing with her newfound, I forget the word they called it, but the intelligence and awareness that she has? And then secondly, who's been transmitting out to the hosts? I want to think that there's like a layer of corporate espionage going on with the Westworld story, but it seems like all signs are pointing to Arnold. I think Arnold is still somewhere inside the park. And like we learned this episode, the hosts have computing power that is similar to that found in the human brain. So personally, I believe that Arnold is dead as a human, but I think there's an incarnation of him still in the park, probably as a host that Dr. Ford had created at some point. And now this host, or this personality or program or whatever you want to call it, is still running around pulling strings and trying to make some sort of point after his death. So we opened a lot of storylines this episode. Things are getting really thick considering that we only have, 3 or 4 more episodes this season. So I'm Interested to see how this turns out. I'm definitely going to be watching. Leave your comments below and tell me what you thought of it. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed my review, and I will see y'all later. Bye, y'all.